Hey, it's King McKay. Today we're going to be looking at your comments and thoughts about the Hound Return scene breakdown and how that showed or didn't show any different relationships between the themes of Game of Thrones. Let's get right into it. Leo of the Red Keep said,
Having read many books by former soldiers from both world wars, different sides and different upbringings and rank, I cannot help but remarking how different Sid and Ray's story is from what they said. To me, George R. R. Martin's rantings about war, philosophy of soldiers, is just a fantasy of someone who's never really been there and hasn't bothered looking into it very much.
Now I must say first off that I do agree with some points here that Leo makes. George R. R. Martin himself and many of the people who work on the show always insist to make sure that we look at the show and everything it does and its themes in terms of this fantasy mythical realm and not real life. The experiences of small folk, soldiers, and people in this realm can be very hard to compare to exactly the experience of well-armed, well-trained, educated soldiers in Iraq, but rather I believe the theme of it showing how war can destroy people's lives and how unavoided violence is so terrible in this show not tell kind of way. Or it doesn't say, oh, war is bad, do this. It almost tries to make the characters glorify it, love it, have victories, but then show how all these victories are empty, how they destroy these houses, and how no one really truly benefits from these experiences in wars. No one's going to look at House Stark and be like, you know what? War really advantages them. No one's going to look at House Lannister either. Half of them are dead, dying, crazy, and lost all their power. Now, it may not be the direct intentions of George R. R. Martin to have this impact on us, which could be pretty sad to say, but it is there, and that's what I'm looking for. I think the best way to look at it is from this clip of Septim Marable from the book that Buckner linked out that really explains how the context of this fantasy realm is what affects the message. I'll put a link for that in the description. Lyrion Tannister said,
They brought the Hound back in the perfect way. I mean, what other way is there? A random red priest just cruising by with a spliff?
The way I believe the Hound should have been brought back was, instead of this whole revenge plot getting kicked off, it was more this quiet ending of satisfaction as he's ended his arc and he's found peace, even though he wasn't a brilliant person, the way that the books seem to have left it. Now, there are other ways I could accept the Hound coming back into this whole story, and I don't mind him coming back now. I know the show has creative license to be able to add extra things, to make this show more spicy, and do some fan service. It's necessary to run a show properly. But I just hope they're not wasting too much screen time on something that won't turn out great, because they are running very short on screen time. They've only got 14 episodes left over 2 seasons, 7 episodes each. Maybe a movie if we're lucky, but probably not. So they're either going to have to make them a key part of the story going forward, rush the storyline, or cut out some other storyline that we may really enjoy. But I must say, I did actually enjoy a lot of the stuff we got from the Hound. The way they brought him back originally from the beginning with the Septon Ray character, the message they had, they left it there with a little bit more of a ease into him moving to a storyline with the band without banners. It would have been a lot better, because it just seemed like we had this whole episode talking about these different themes, and they backtrack on that right at the end. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think this is the proper way they should have brought back the Hound, or there's another way that they could have brought him back that would be a lot more better for you? Luke Timpson said,
I think the ending of Season 8 will show how bad war is. After the War for the Dawn, all the lands, castles, and ruins, no place for civilization to prosper, all the power over them, which will prove meaningless by the end.
Now, there are a lot of people who talk about this whole ending of civilization and nothingness at the end of the War for the Dawn. This whole change in the civilization. I do believe that by the end of the story, we'll have a big social change, a big ramification change of who's in power, what's happening next as they go forward. This will be the last war of their really stagnant dark ages. If you want to hear more about my thoughts on that, you can watch the Tyrion video I did talking about how he may rule. Or you can listen to this bit, because I'm fucking going to explain it more now, you impatient little shit. I don't think this War for the Dawn, or this conflict with the White Walkers, will be this huge game-changing thing that will ruin the whole of Westeros and leave it with this dark message of, like, the White Walkers ruling and all the men dead and stuff. That would be a really interesting way to end it, but it's not going to be the way this actually ends. As many of you may already know, George R. R. Martin's explained it, the bittersweet ending he's going to have for the show. Some people believe this is going to be Dany dying to Jorah so they could save the world and other stuff like that. There's tons of theories, you can look them up. So pretty much I think it's going to go for a bittersweet ending, not this kind of apocalyptic ending. The Bloody Hound said,
"It may be like this in Winters too.
No, the band without Brenners wouldn't be attacking the Quad Owl, but the Mummers or the Great Canyons or even the Golden Company could spark his return to the outside world. Sandor can have his peace by doing what he really wanted to do anyway, killing. But killing for the right reasons or people, the good fight. Whether he leads to the Flame Bowl situation or just goes to the north for the real fight, doesn't matter. It's still cool to see one of the biggest secondary characters return."
Yep. Mr. Settle said,
"I thought the Hound would be significantly different. He has not changed at all. Almost as disappointing to me as the post-revival of Jon Snow. Seems like Jon should have came back with something special, like Dany from the Fire. Hope the books develop these plots more."
I think you're bang on the money right here. 90% of the reason I'm thoroughly disappointed with Season 6 was because of these new character bringbacks, Jon Snow's revival, and nothing changing. It felt like repetitive garbage we've got before. There is no point in killing off a character to bring them back without any significant change to the circumstances of the scenario or the character. All that happened was it gave him an excuse to leave the war, and there are so many other ways they could do that without using this whole huge event of him getting killed. Like, Jon Snow's survival wasn't used at all really to help with the wildlings, even though they set it up so he could have used it that way, but they didn't. It wasn't used to convince anyone about the White Walkers, it wasn't used to help with the Night's Watch. I'm getting off track, but yeah, you had a good point. McKillick said,
"Game of Thrones doesn't tell us feudalism is bad, just that it's a complicated system and tough on the poor. Just like any other system, not like any one is perfect anyway."
I think this goes back to that whole area of it being a fantasy mythical realm, and that's where we get these themes applying to. But I do think there are a lot of systems we have today that are better than feudalism. If you look at feudalism, it's pretty atrocious. Feudalism is a medieval governing system predating the birth of the modern state. Feudalism is a military hierarchy with lords, kings, and their little bits of land and military support. Basically, it's a system where you have the king on top, you have the liege lords below that, and then his bannermen below him. This gives them a pyramid structure of command, so the big decisions can be made easily by the king by himself, and then the smaller day-to-day ones happen by smaller lords in their own areas and lands. The only problem is that these lords aren't just people who are highly qualified to run a certain area and work together well. They're warring, crazy maniacs that are inherited to the position. So modern systems, just by being modern and having that hindsight, are able to be built way better because we take the good parts of feudalism, the top-down pyramid and the productivity produced from that, and then remove the lords and replace them with politicians and managers. But really, if you look at feudalism as a positive system that's somewhat equal to your current system, you're living in a bad place. Okay guys, that's all for this video. There were a lot more that I wanted to cover that I can't really cover at this point, but if you guys have any more interesting thoughts about this topic or future topics, make sure to put them in the comment section below. I'm genuinely so interested when I look in these comment sections because I go into a video with certain researches and articles and theories I look at, but you guys mold my opinion, pulling out the flaws and facts, and get me in the right direction, so you actually improve my understanding of Game of Thrones as I try to improve yours. Also, you may be noticing that I've been putting out some more theory videos and scene breakdowns, so if those series aren't the favorite thing you like on my channel and you would like me to do something else, like some of you guys have suggested, then put them in the comment section below as well, and I'll look at those and try to make videos on them. I've already got a few good suggestions about Bran and Arya and stuff, and I really want to dig into those, so expect those videos coming out soon.